Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to another week of inspiration brought to you by our friends from IFPC. My name is John O'Leary, and I'm going to share with you a story that I experienced at age 20, the ripe age of 20. At that point in my life, I was a college intern working in a financial service firm. Big job. I was responsible for making a few copies, occasionally stuffing a couple envelopes, occasionally making coffee. I mean, the big kind of stuff like that that you're responsible for at age 20. And personally, I'm not sure I could have handled much more than that, which is why it was so surprising on a December morning. I don't know the exact date, but on a December morning when my phone rang. Okay, my phone never rang. My phone never rang. I had a little cubicle, but my phone never rang unless it was my mother asking me if I wanted to have lunch or a college friend pranking me. Other than that, nobody ever called me. The phone rings, and on the end of the phone, I hear these words: "Were you born stupid, or have you just become that way in time?" And I remember looking at the phone, wondering which of my college friends was pranking me. And then I realized actually this is coming from an office in Chicago that we're tethered to. So then I said on the phone, "Excuse me?" He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot who I was talking to. Let me slow it down for you. John, were you born stupid? Or have you become that way in time? Did I slow it down for you enough?" I won't go through the complexity of the gentleman's issue. Needless to say, it had absolutely nothing to do with some 20-year-old college intern or even the department that he called. He called my department. We're managed products. It had nothing to do with anything we had anything to do with. But I remember afterwards, after working through the issue with this gentleman on the phone, I went to speak to my manager about it. And he shared with me a quote that touched me so deeply, I wrote it in my journal that night, and I'd like to share with you today. I think there's wisdom from Don Embry in what he shared with a 20-year-old. And maybe there's something within this quote that you and I might benefit from during this difficult, crazy, recessionary, pandemic, divisive time that we all find ourselves living in. Here's what Don Embry said to me: John, never listen to anyone who was only able to tell you what you do poorly. Their hostility towards you is just a reflection of the hatred they have toward themselves. That's good. They don't feel good about themselves. They don't have strong self esteem, and they certainly don't have your best interest in mind. Drop the mic on that one, Don Embry. John, never listen to anyone who only is able to tell you what you do poorly. I think we live today in a society that is frequent to point out only the things that we do poorly. Sometimes that means us individually. Sometimes it means my party or your party, where I worship or where you worship, how you vote or how they vote over there. It's very common that we judge the other side on what they do poorly, and we amplify that. Very seldom are we able to recognize the beauty within their perspective, the 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 gift of their opinion. And Don reminds us never listen to anyone who's only able to tell us what we do poorly. They don't have our best interests in mind. They hate themselves, and because of that, it makes them seem like they hate us as well. My friends, we live in this time, and it's a reminder for me twofold. Number one, for us to be filled with much more grace during these days that we find ourselves living, leading, and working through. Have a lot more grace for those of us around. But secondly, give yourself a lot more grace during these days where it's very quick for us to look in the mirror and not be thrilled with what we see, to look at the bank account and not love what we see, to look at challenges we face within our family, within our organization, and not to be delighted with what we're dealing with there. It's very quick to be negative these days. The challenge is not to ignore what's wrong, but also to amplify and celebrate and then to multiply going forward what is right. The foundation of our lives remain firm, and the best of our days remain in front of us. Let's make sure as we deal with some feedback that we receive the feedback that is not only negative and always given to us through a negative lens of all the things we do are poor, but also through the lens of possibility that remind us that our best days are in front of us. Maybe the best place to get and give some of that feedback is to the person staring back at you in the mirror. My friends, for this time and until next time, my name is John O'Leary, and today remains your day. You're good. You were born a genius, contrary to that crass person who said I was born stupid. You were born a genius, and your best days are in front of you. I'll see you next week.